Welcome back to Star Citizen Addicts Anonymous. I'm Nikki Batgirl D'Angelo, and this is episode 45. It's fitting that on the 45th episode, I'll be talking about it's not the 45th patch, is it? It's patch 13, or is it patch 0.9? Anyway, it's been a very, very, very busy week for those people that work for CIG, and busy for those of us that have been trying to play the game. The week began for me with an interview with Sandy Gardner. We had a 45-minute conversation, and I hope you've all have seen that interview. It's up here, and I'll link it too. Two of the subjects have become controversial. One of them, outright controversial, and that was about in-game advertising. And the other one is actually something that's kind of hidden because I don't think people get the meaning of it. And it has to do with esports and racing and how that in-game advertising ties in to being able to give us some prizes and tournaments and bandwidth for presenting that game, and also ties into something that's been controversial, and that's the M50 and the 350R sales. Now, these are limited ships, meaning that they were going on limited sale. They never said the volume of these products was going to be limited. What they said in the past was that they were limited sales. They were going to come up and then go away. They never said that these were going to be only available to early backers. They never said these were going to be one-time sales and never come back again like the Scythe. They never said that they were severely limited like the Starfarer and of course the Idris. What they said was these ships are going to be available in-game. We're going to sell the packages now and they'll come back every now and then. Well, the first mistake on CIG's part was that they included an Origin spacesuit in the package. So there was an M50 package, there was a 350R package, and then there was a package of the two together. The first part of it had to do with the light speed package, which I agree was a limited sale and should have only been sold early on to early backers. It's kind of like the veteran backers got discounts for a while, and anyone that was a backer before a certain point got LTI. After that, everything was even ground, so they made that mistake. But then, by allowing the ships to be sold permanently, some people got they got really upset. If you're going to yell at me for this, I'm welcoming it, okay? Because I'm welcoming it because I don't believe anything should be kept from everybody in this game. So Sandy wants to have esports. We need ships. We need the M50. We need the 350R as the premier ships. They're the ones in the ads. They're the ones that people want. And what we're telling people is, no, you didn't put your money up early enough. You can't have these. I don't know if I should go on a tirade for this. I'm upset about this. I think that those of us that are early backers, there are some of us that are becoming entitled, thinking that because we were here first, we should get things that people don't get from now on. I don't agree with this at all. And the two ships have been taken down from permanent sale. They're still there until the 22nd. And I totally disagree with that. The game needs to grow. New people are going to come in and they're going to want to race. And they're going to want to race with that M50 from the awesome Galactic Gear commercial. They're going to want to race with the 350R from the 300i commercial. But they're not going to be able to because some people got their tails in a tizzy and they got upset and ripped apart the boards and forced Ben to take them down and put them back into this limited ship sale. The only ship that was never going to be available to anybody ever again was the Scythe. That was it. That was it. These were limited, kind of like all of the ones that were not in the hangar yet. Limited so you could buy it now, so they could see what the buy-in is on it, and then they would bring them back later. Now, I'm probably wrong about the 350R, but I was there from the beginning with the M50. I got it really, really early. I got it so early, it was only $80 for me. And that's one of the things that an early backer got, was lower price. I'm not for the keeping this away from new backers that want to come and play the game. I think This is my opinion. These are the opinions of Nicole D'Angelo and no one else. I think you're wrong. I do. It's an opinion. I think you're wrong for making them take these ships off sale. Because we want people in the game. We want people to race. Not everybody wants to race. People want to be a pirate. People want to be cargo haulers, bounty hunters, mercenaries. People want to own clubs and businesses. And people want to race. And for us telling them that they can't sell these assets, it just drives me nuts. That's my tirade for today. So how does all this work together? So let's go back to the interview. Sandy said that we're going to have a tournament next year. Go back and watch the tail end of my interview last week, and you'll see her talking about it. We're going to get details in January, kind of like we got details of the next great starship in January. And then they're going to go on with the tournament sometime later on. She said it may even preempt the next great starship next year, but she's not sure about that. Hey, I'm throwing my hat in the ring to be able to help with that if they need it. I think that racing is going to be a big deal. And if they want to get into esports, they're going to get sponsors. Sponsors like AMD that are going to put their logos on game assets. But then they're going to pay for network bandwidth. They're going to pay for venues. They're going to pay for getting people to and from these tournaments. I think that's a good thing. I don't want this advertising in my hangar, in my locker, in my ship, or in my club in the game. But in the racing part of it, I'm okay with it. So that's it. So the two controversial topics, I believe that there's equal numbers of people on both of the commercials and in-game advertising. And I know why I support it, but I also understand why those don't. And I don't think either one of those are wrong. But when it comes to the M50 and 350R, this is a game, and I think everybody should have equal access. I don't think anybody should be allowed to have something that other people can't that could change the game. And with the M50 and 350R being the premier racers right now, I think they should be available to everybody permanently. At a higher price, fine. Without the racing suit, hey, I think that's awesome. Don't put it with the racing suit. But to preclude people from coming into the game from buying that, I don't think that that is sending a good message to new would-be backers in the future. So let's move on. This is a controversial part, and if I'm an asshole, I'm sorry. I do apologize. I am very strong-willed, and I do have my own opinion on this, and I know that I can be quite opinionated, but that's it. So we're going to move on from there. Patch 0.9 got released on Friday. I was at work, and thankfully it was downloading when I was at work, and when I was home, and when I was getting ready for bed. I think that was one of the longest patch downloads ever, but I was already throttled because I broke my 300 gigabyte limit on Comcast, which is why on Monday I upgraded to Comcast Business with increased bandwidth and no data cap, so I won't have to deal with that again. It's a typical CIG patch. It has its problems and it has its beauty. The beauty part, first, I did 4 videos so far, 4 reviews of the Southland, AeroView, the Revel in York, and the VFG Industrial, aka Asteroid Hangars. These things are amazing, and what I want you to do when you look in your hangar is stop. Just do a 360 slowly. Look up, look down, look at the ground, look at the wiring, look at the things that are in the hangar. They went over the top with the detail in this, and so much so that it actually puts a little bit of a strain on my video card. And I've got a 4 gig 760, which I know isn't fast, but it's never hiccuped once yet in the game. And occasionally when I'm going from one hangar to the other and it's loading in the textures, you get kind of a hiccup. I love these hangars. I love what they're doing, and it gives me a really, really, really good, it makes me feel much more trust and better about the game. I know this game is going to be wonderful. I can't wait to see the persistent universe. I can't wait to see the planet side and social modules that Sandy was talking about in my interview with her. This is going to be a wonderful game. So we got a lot of things added in this patch, right? We got the 350R and M50 playable, but for some of us, like me, there's kind of a couple bugs going on and things that they had to turn off so they didn't go over the top with this release and kill a system. So not all of my ships are available in any of my hangars. In fact, the Self-Land hangar still has some legacy code in it, and it won't fit the bigger ships, but I'm sure that's going to be fixed. I've been able to play with my M50 a lot, but my 350R doesn't show up. So what racing I have been able to do, well, I haven't been able to do any. I've been able to practice in the drone sim, but in the Spectrum, no, I have not been able to get a Spectrum match. There are issues on both sides of the coin here. I have issues with my mouse. My mouse sometimes starts blinking and I can't click on anything. I have issues getting into matches, which they said would be fixed with 13.01 or 13.1. Not sure which one they meant. Still happening. There's a lot of things that aren't working right. There's also some changes that I didn't get at first, like the hangars. I was watching Bohemian Eagle, otherwise known as the Mighty Jingles, and he said that the hangars were based on monetary investment, and that's how you got your hangar. Of course, we know that he was wrong. But there is something to be said for this. If you buy a Cutlass and it has the asteroid hangar, you have access to every other hangar, which is kind of weird, because if I buy a Constellation, which is twice the price, I only get access to the one hangar? Or is that the 3 hangars underneath it? I don't know. So it's kind of a juggling act with knowing what's what. And I know it's in the patch notes, but I'm going to have Ben on the show on Thursday this week. I'll kick it out as a special report. We're going to discuss just certain questions that we have about this patch. If you have anything pertinent and not beating up, just quick informational questions that you want me to ask Ben, please put them in the comments below. And Ben is always very delighted to be on the show, always very helpful, and answers most of my questions. The only questions he doesn't, of course, are about what's coming, not what's in it already. There's been a great number of changes to the game itself. With the speed has been increased, so you actually feel like you're in a space fighter, but now it feels like you're playing in a drifting car race. It drifts a lot, which is what would happen in real life, but I don't get that feeling I'm in a space fighter like you would with Luke Skywalker, and I'm not sure which one I think is more fun. I believe the graphics have been improved. I could almost bet on it because things look a lot better on my system than they were, and I haven't changed anything. The sounds have been incredibly updated, and weapons have been altered slightly. And by that, I mean it is going to take you a little bit longer to take down shields with the Mantis Gatling guns than before, though they'll still chew through them pretty fast because that's a lot of metal flying at a target. The bullpup repeaters, or bulldog repeaters, seem to have been upgraded a bit. They seem to do a lot more damage than they were doing before. And of course, the flight models now include 6 degrees of freedom, so I could actually pull my ship up, down, and laterally to try to line up the target better. There's also been some adjustments in gimbaled and non-gimbaled weapons. It seems to be much easier to play with gimbaled weapons with your mouse and keyboard, but with straight firing weapons that aren't gimbaled, it seems to be much easier to play with a joystick. It's kind of weird, right? It looks like they should be equal because there's some weapons that are really, really powerful and aren't gimbaled that would be easier for you to fight with a joystick, fire with a joystick. But then again, those are pretty much not in the game unless you own a ship with them already, like the neutron cannons on the Hornet. If you have a Super Hornet or a Hornet that has those, you can take them off and put them on the trainer, and you can make those work. And they're actually pretty powerful if you could take down the shields first. So there was a lot that went into the patch, okay? And to reiterate everything that you've already read and been part of is kind of crazy, right? But there have been quite a number of issues also. I can tell you this. I've never had as many crashes in my game client as I had the last day and a half. Yes, it came out on Friday, but I work Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So from Sunday until now, Sunday night until now, I've been playing, and very frequently I just crash. And I'll crash in the hangar, I'll crash coming out of putting myself up for a Spectrum match, I'll crash coming off the elevator in any of the hangars. And it seems to be less now than before. I'm wondering if there's so much textures in there, it was taking a long time to load, and that was what was crashing it, but it was crashing. And of course, not being able to get into the game. We've already talked about that one. It's being fixed. That's server side, and the way they were setting up matches. Second thing, or third thing that's been affecting me, is the way that my throttle and stick work. I've never had a problem with it before. I've always done the pp_rebind keys and pushed it to my own mapped XML file for my Warthog. No, I don't have a Warthog, sorry. I have the X55 HOTUS. The big thing that I see here is that now there's many times that I'll get all the way into a race, well, private match, not private match at all. We didn't even talk about those yet. Those have been canceled, right? But into the drone sim, and all of a sudden my stick is my throttle and my throttle is nothing. And all I have is a keyboard and mouse connected, so I have to go out of the client, I have to disconnect all of my items, I have to plug the joystick in first, then the throttle, then my mouse and keyboard, and then go back in, and then it's recognized. Never had to do that before. That's something that I'm doing now. And of course, I need to write a bug report about that, and I haven't done that right now. Private matches were supposed to be in this game, and they worked for a while, and they didn't work, and they've been pretty much taken down for the time being. There's a lot of things going on server side that hasn't been working exactly the way they wanted to, but they are getting it quickly worked out, and we're probably going to see a patch or two over the next 2 weeks. Leaderboards were put in. They're up. They're up on your community section and at the bottom where it says Arena Commander, and they seem to be working. They don't have my minute and 19-second run around the first course of the race, though, because I think I was in drone sim and not actually competing, so that's kind of weird. But I'm looking at leaderboards and I'm thinking, oh my god, this is going to be awesome, and that's one thing that I think they hit on. That is going to be awesome, and it's going to work, and it's going to be able to show how you rate against the rest of your squadron, your organization, your alliance, the message boards, whatever. That's going to be wonderful. So all in all, I know that there's a lot of information on that patch, and I'm not going to break it down like some of these video casts do. I've already taken to doing the 4 videos on the hangars. I have another one in the works on racing, and I haven't been able to get into a Vaduul co-op yet. I'll do that when it's time. Vaduul co-op will probably be Let's Pew Pew, as will racing. I think that's where they fit better, much better than the special reports. I think a hangar review belongs in the special report, but actual gameplay is going to go into my Let's Pew Pew thread. Those are things I want you to understand. I have multiple threads for Star Citizen now. Star Citizen AA has this show in it. Star Citizen AA Special Report has interviews and reviews in it. And Let's Pew Pew has gameplay in it. There's one last one, which is Game Community Interviews. I have interviewed Ben and Eric and Stacy. I'm sorry, there is no Stacy. I was thinking about Dan Tracy, and I never got him on the show. I wanted to. And Sandy and James Pugh, David Lederman, David Haddock, and Will have all been on my show. All right, so for those of you that want to see those interviews, I've made it much easier for you to be able to see them, and those are in their own special game community playlist now. So we're getting through that. A couple of other things happened this week. One of the big ones, which we don't have a letter yet, and I checked just before I came down to my studio, we hit 53 million, and I think this might be the transition from monetary goals to the ones that are going to be more specific to things that go on in the game. We'll see what happens. Chris has said that before, and Ben reiterated that when I asked him when we were at Dragon Con. So there might be differences in the way stretch goals work in the near future. Maybe based on number of people online, number of people flying a certain ship, whatever it is, that's what they're going for next. I don't know if that's ready to go. I'm hoping, because I'm getting tired of trying to strive for another $1 million and trying to figure out what I can buy to try to help them go over the top. For those of you that ordered the Constellation model, I talked to Sandy about this also. I'll first tell you that they are shipping. I looked today. Mine is finally shipping. As soon as it has shipped, you'll have a DHL tracking number in your billing and subscriptions area of the website. And you'll be able to track it from China all the way back to your house. We talked about other models on the show. So this is one thing I want you to be aware of. Say you want a model of a Retaliator. Sandy said that she's going to put out a word saying who would be interested. It's going to be one of two ways that this is going to happen. They're either going to have a poll or they're going to take a pre-order, like a commitment to say I'm going to buy one. You'll set up the payment. They won't charge you. This is a possibility. This isn't the way it's going. And if they get enough people to order that particular model, then they'll run everybody's credit card or everybody's payment, and then the order will go in and we'll get that model. So I asked her about Retaliator, and this is what she came back and said, that we're probably going to be doing it differently. And differently means that we're going to be looking at a way to find out how many of those we can get, because you have to have a minimum order of, I think, 1,500 for this to work. So we're going to start to close out the show now, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the current contest that I'm running. First off, thank you all for getting me to 1,000 viewers. I'm reaching out to you to help me get to 1,500 at this point. I announced this a few weeks ago. I'm giving away a Freelancer MIS that is being donated by Ben Lesnick. And all you have to do to win this is to do a very simple thing. Share my episodes on Twitter, Google+, and Facebook. Take a screenshot of each one of those shares. Take the 3 screenshots, put them into one email with the subject field stating it's Freelancer MIS giveaway. Send it off to theaddictedgamer@gmail.com. When I hit 1,500, I'll have a special show where myself and Ben Lesnick will announce the winner. That's it. That's all that you have to do to win that. In my vlog every week, which normally airs on Monday, but I had no internet this week, so it's going to air tomorrow after this show goes live, I give away Hanger Flare every week. This week, it's the locker from Another Universe. I think that's what it's called. But it's the locker. And I'm giving away 2. One of them, if you haven't figured it out yet, go back and watch my Selfland review. I announced what you have to do to win it in that one. The other one was in last week's giveaway. I told you how to win it. It was just by commenting in that show. So I'm giving away 2 of the lockers. One for anyone that commented in last week's giveaway. The second one is going to be, well, you got to go back and watch the Selfland Hanger review to figure out how to win that. Okay? That's it. That's all I got. I mean, I was on a rant in the beginning and I apologize. I love this game. I'm passionate about it. I love the people at CIG. And I think you guys that watch my show each week are awesome. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to stand up here and talk to you every week and to bring you my reviews and my interviews. Now, if you want to help me keep that going, you can do that by going to patreon.com/Batgirl. Patreon is a site that lets you, the viewer, become patrons and help to support my endeavor here to support the show by making a monetary contribution should you like to. Still, the best contribution that you could ever make is what you're doing right now, watching, commenting, liking the video. If you want to go one step further and help me to produce the show by getting the needed equipment like noise canceling this room and getting a better camera and being able to attend the different cons and there's a lot of things, believe me. Just my internet bill each month is about $180 right now for all the videos I put up. You can help me by going out there. If you'd rather just make one contribution instead of signing up for something like Patreon, if you go to StarCitizenAA.com, right on the front page, there's a donate button that goes directly to the show's PayPal. If you don't want to donate money, just keep watching. Thank you. That's all I could ever ask. You guys are awesome. And like I said, I couldn't ask for anything more than that. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for commenting. And if you do like this show, please make sure to choose or select the thumbs up down below. It really does help out the show with the search results and other things, okay? That's all I got for you this week. So you all be safe out there, and I'll talk to you soon.